5, 4, 1. Okay. Good afternoon. Excuse me. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome here to Whites and Wexford for our AGM 2024. Delighted to be here and delighted to see such a good crowd here of A.I.M.S members. You're all very, very welcome. I'd like to start off with the agenda on apologies.
Good afternoon and welcome everyone. I hope I don't have to do a countdown. I have a very extensive list of apologies here, and I'm sure Maureen Heffernan, our registrar, has another list, but rather bore you, those present, with the list of apologies. Can we take them as read? Yes. Thank you.
They're all what?
Okay. Right. Minutes of the 2023 AGM.
So rather than listen to my melodious voice for the whole afternoon, I'm going to ask our national PRO, Kate Furlong, to read the minutes of the last year's AGM, which was held in Bloomfield in Mullingar.
Good afternoon, everybody. You've listened to my melodious tones now for a few minutes. You can compare and contrast at the end. The minutes of the National AGM was held on Sunday, the 29th of January, 2023, in the Bloomfield House Hotel, Mullingar. Attendance and apologies were noted with National Registrar Maureen Heffernan. Minutes of previous meeting were proposed and seconded by Nolene Kelly, Portmarnock Musical Society, and Brian O'Neill, Kells Musical Society. National President Rob Donnelly, Avonmore Musical Society, welcomed everyone to the meeting and called for a minute's silence to remember those who had died during the year. The Secretary's report was read by National Secretary Frank Foley, Cumanum and Chicora Musical Society, and these were proposed and seconded by Annette Kavanagh, Nine Arts Musical Society, and Colin Moles, Avonmore Musical Society. Finances. Discussions around the 100k received from the Arts Council. It was remarked that income was increasing. Discussion around giving up the charity status. Full list of accounts available from the National Treasure Sheet, Moore Nolan Baldoyle Musical Society. Financial report was proposed and seconded by Brian O'Neill, Kells, and Jerry Sweeney, Ballinasloe Musical Society. Proposal of thanks to Moore Nolan for all her hard work over COVID, proposed by Life member Mary Mullen. President's address. Rob Donnelly, outgoing National President, thanked everyone for their attendance. It was regret and great memories he was handing over with the chain of office after a tenure of 3 years. Rob felt that the office of President opened doors, got the best seats in the House, and even at times delayed the shows if running a little late. Rob outlined how he felt being part of the Musical Society is something very special. Like a family, we create magical shows every year, tell incredible stories through acting, singing and dancing, and the meeting rose to a round of applause for outgoing President Rob Donnelly. A vote of thanks was proposed by Life member Mary Mullen. National officers, one nomination for the National President, Fergal Kavanagh, duly elected. Vice President Jerry Sweeney was elected, as he was the only received a nomination. Frank Foley, Maura Nolan and Kate Furlong were re-elected as National Secretary, National Treasurer and National PRO, respectively. Auditors McFeely and McKiernan, proposed as auditors by Catherine Lamb and seconded by Annette Kavanagh. The Choral Festival was taking place from Friday the 19th to Sunday the 21st of May, and the syllabus was available on the A.I.M.S website. The AGM for 2024, decision to go with the South East region and the Northern region for 2025. The awards weekend. The price for the awards weekend was €385. The theme for the weekend was Magic to Do, and deposits of €200 were due to be received on the 15th of March. New President's Address. Fergal wished Rob Donnelly, outgoing National President, a good night's sleep. Thanks to the region for hosting the National AGM and looking forward to a celebration year. Thanked the Council for their Trojan work and sincere thanks to Brian O'Neill for all his hard work on behalf of the organisation over the years as he stepped off the Council after more than 50 years. The future of A.I.M.S is very healthy, with constant member societies, need to sharpen the relationship with the Arts Council regarding funding, put in relationship on a professional footing. Any other business? Query about tickets for the banquet. number of full weekenders, and queries on tickets for nominees, what's available. Brandon was also thanked for his hard work, and Billy Holmes was wished a speedy recovery. That is the minutes of the AGM from 2023. Thank you.
Just get a proposer and seconder for those.
Oh, I got an applause. That's actually.
And well deserved, well deserved. Could we have a proposer and a seconder, please? No. Right. And next we go to the financial statement for the year ending the 30th. Oh, sorry, report of the National Council for the year ending the 30th of September.
So the association I'm used to projection in my day job. I won't tell you what that is. The A.I.M.S National Secretary's report for the season 2023 to 2024. As we heard, the AGM was held at Bloomfield House Hotel, Mullingar, hosted by the Midlands region. The AGM elected as new national president Fergal Kavanagh from the Western region as president for the new season, and Jerry Sweeney, Midlands region, was elected as a new vice president. Fergal expressed his sincere thanks to Rob Donnelly, the outgoing president, on his tenure as president, and recognised him as a great ambassador for the organisation of A.I.M.S, making new links and, of course, friendships right across the island of Ireland. Rob thanked the National Executive and Council for all their Trojan and sterling work and efforts on the part of the organisation for member societies. The outgoing national president, Rob, also thanked the members of his own society, Avonmore Musical Society, for all their support over his tenure as national president, and without this support, he would not have been able to carry out his role. The list of councillors then for the 2022-23 season. Eastern Region had 8 councillors: Frank Foley, National Secretary; Kate Furlong, PRO; Maureen Heffernan, Registrar; Nolene Kelly; Catherine Lamb; Moira Nolan, National Treasurer; Fiona Sheeran, Awards Weekend Administrator; and Mikey Flynn. Northern and Angela Cunningham, Maureen Keohane, Garrett McGreevy, Gary Redpath and Rebecca Thompson. Midlands, 3 councillors: Alton Keena, Jerry Sweeney, Hilary Tracy. South East, Jamie Collins, Colin Moles, Rob Donnelly, Catherine Walsh. South West, Niamh Chadwick, Margaret McGee, Seamus Power, Laura Ryan, Mary Smith, Martin McNeilis. Western, Annette Kavanagh, Fergal Kavanagh, Vice President, Clodagh Farrell and Niamh Kelly-Smith. And co-options for the season: Showtime's editor Brandon Cogley, Insurance Scheme Billy Holmes, and Choral Festival Administrator Lizzie Heffernan. The executive, consisting of the officers and chairperson of any region not represented by officers, met every month and continued to take on the day-to-day running of the association, and members of the National Council, meeting every second month, look to the future of the organisation. Society membership of the organisation: Eastern Region 36 members and 2 junior members, Midlands 10 members, Northern 20 members, South East 17, South West 22, Western 18 and 1 junior society. So that gave a total of 1, 2, 3 and 3 junior societies. This membership was slightly down on previous years pre-COVID. COVID-19 and its implications. Again, we had a slow aftermath of COVID-19 on the island and a slow reawakening for societies back to treading the boards. Audiences were also a little slow in coming back to theatres in large numbers. Adjudication and awards scheme: we had the reappointment of Peter Kennedy as adjudicator, but switching tiers and moving to the Gilbert section. Peter needs no introduction to his theatre work, both on and off the stage, and his excellent folio of musical theatre shows. Caroline Daly-Jones, Wexford, former A.I.M.S female singer winner and performer and seasoned performer in many operatic roles, both here and in Europe, took over as adjudicator in the Sullivan section, and we wish them both the very best on their travels across the country. We also had the reappointment of our programme adjudicators for each of the tiers: Gilbert and Sullivan, John Graydon and Brian Gunning. Sincere thanks to them for their time and commitment to the role. Sincere thanks to the two adjudication liaison officers, Laura Ryan, in charge of Gilbert, and Clodagh Farrell, in charge of Sullivan, for all their hard work and patience during the year. The numbers adjudicated in each section were 52 and 53 shows, respectively. This is a welcome return to normality after the devastation of COVID. A.I.M.S Awards Weekend. The awards weekend in Killarney was extremely successful, with the numbers climbing back to pre-COVID levels. Full weekenders were up at 939. Ticket packages for events to 11, and sitting down for the banquet and an A.I.M.S Awards presentation on the Saturday evening was 1,236. This success has created some issues that were raised with National Council around numbers being seated and also the availability of overflow hotels. These being looked at for the weekend 2024. Sincere thanks to the weekend administrator Fiona Sheeran with her subcommittee and all councillors and former councillors who helped out on this mammoth task, no mean feat. Warmest regards and gratitude to Vinnie Osborne for all the professional help and expertise in making this a spectacle to behold. Fergal Darcy for again acting as MC for the proceedings and keeping everything running smoothly. Congratulations to Brian O'Neill, Kells Musical Society, who was the winner of the Mary Kelly Unsung Hero Award. Brian, one of the early fathers of A.I.M.S and the backbone of his own group in Kells. And sincere thanks to Brian's wife and family for their kindness and patience down through the years. To all those other heroes who were nominated by their local societies, well done, and your work does not go unrecognised within your local communities. We were also delighted to present a cheque for €2,556 to the Rape Crisis Centre, the proceeds of the raffle run over the weekend. Choral Festival. A very successful choral concert was held on St. Michael's Theatre in New Ross in May, with a fabulous concert on the Saturday night with a great audience, under the musical baton and direction of the talented Kevin Kennedy, and a great selection of members of 10 societies from the Southeast region, who sounded wonderful, and you were all great ambassadors for musical theatre. 21 junior choirs and youth groups and 50 soloists took to the stage on the Friday of the competition weekend. Sunday had 56 entries across 12 competitions. Sincere thanks to the Choral Festival Subcommittee and Administrator Lizzie Heffernan for their hard work with this. And sincere thanks to the staff and management of St. Michael's Theatre for their hard work and contribution over the weekend. Sponsorship and grant funding. Again this season we found ourselves without a main sponsor for our various activities, but we're appreciative of smaller grant funding from Wexford County Council, Dublin City Council and Education Credit Union. We were lucky with the Arts Council funding for the last season during COVID, and this helped to stage a number of successful workshops around the country. Sincere thanks to local societies and committees who have put in a lot of work in organising these workshops at local level. Further workshops are currently being held around the regions. Please get in contact with Frank Foley, National Secretary, if you would like to host one of these for your members. As mentioned in last year's Secretary's report, ongoing meetings had been held with the Arts Council regarding access to some government funding for the organisation and its various activities. This did come to fruition with a lot of hard work and graft by members of the National Executive and a grant coming through around mentoring societies within the adjudication scheme and the extension of the Youth Summer School held every summer in Ursuline College, Thurles, and also the funding for the various workshops around the country for our member societies. National President Fergal Kavanagh and National Secretary Frank Foley represented A.I.M.S at another meeting in Dáil Éireann of the Joint Committee on Tourism, Culture, Arts, Sport and Media on the 15th of November 2023 on musical societies and their impact in local and community arts and what can be done to help them and other arts organisations. National President Fergal Kavanagh raised the issue of the forthcoming Local Enhancement Programme Grant 2024 and its importance for funding for societies at local level. The National Executive, represented by the National Secretary Frank Foley, is in contact with the Office of the Minister of Arts on an ongoing basis. The National Council would encourage local societies to get involved with their local authorities, with their local PPN, the Public Participation Network, to get up-to-date details on various funding and grant opportunities available to societies at local level. The National Secretary, Frank Foley, has been recently elected to the Secretariat for the PPN, working with Dublin City Council, and will keep a watchful eye for future avenues of funding for both societies and the organisation. Bursaries. National Council decided to go ahead with the A.I.M.S bursary scheme this year, and sincere thanks to the O'Neill family for continuing with their family bursary in honour of the late Anne. We were delighted with the addition of 2 new bursaries this year, with the Nolan family in Bluebell in Dublin providing a bursary in memory of the late Anne-Marie McQuillan, former member of the Old St Michael's Musical Society in Inchicore, Dublin 8, and a founding member of Kilmainham Inchicore Musical Society. The second bursary was provided by the family of the late D. Maloney Carter, well-known performer with many Kildare-based societies. Sincere thanks to both Philip and Lynn for all their help with these bursaries, a fitting tribute to your loved ones. The auditions for these bursaries were again held virtually, and thanks to the interview panel, Derek O'Neill, Mikey Flynn representing A.I.M.S, Shane Farrell, a musical director from Bravo Theatre Group, along with National President Fergal Kavanagh and Lynn Carter, representing her family for their help and expertise. For the stage management bursary, thanks to Claire Neal from Kilmainham Inchicore Musical Society and Maureen McMahon for their help with the stage management one. The winner of the Anne O'Neill bursary was Ali Fleming, Bravo Theatre Group and Munster Technological University Musical Society. The winner of the A.I.M.S bursary was Kate Cullen, Sean Gilligan, Performing Arts in Dublin, and also Munster Technological University Musical Society. And the winner of the D. Maloney Carter bursary for performance was Katie Ann Harris, Tralee Musical Society, and also Munster Technological University Musical Society. The winner of the Anne-Marie McQuillan bursary was Alana Busher-Carley, nominated by Oyster Lane Theatre Group here in Wexford. Best of luck to them in their future studies and their careers. Also, sincere thanks to Deirdre Masterson and the American College for the provision of bursaries. Winners were Jason Carroll from Tullamore, Portlaoise and Clara Musical Society, Joey Crinion, Maynooth University Musical Society. Website and social media. Martin McNeilis, Southwestern Region, continued as website administrator and was instrumental in the work behind our new website, which was launched during the year. Site sessions during the year, 148,771. Visitors, 30,730 views. Highest number of page views were in the months of May and June, with 25,000 page views for each month, respectively. This probably due to the announcement and publication of the A.I.M.S Awards and the A.I.M.S nominations during those months, May and June. With the decision to cease publication of our annual monthly magazine, Showtimes, show reviews are now being published online. This has led to an increase in traffic to the A.I.M.S website and should encourage possible further avenues for advertising for us. We would encourage member societies to update their own show information on the site and use the site for upcoming events and advertise their shows. Numbers using this service among societies is still quite small. This is a very valuable marketing service. Sincere thanks to Dara Carl, Kilmainham Inchicore Musical Society, for all his help, and New Ross, for his help in uploading the reviews. A.I.M.S presence on Facebook and Twitter have increased through advertising of our member shows and events. A phenomenal number of shows now appear on our social media pages. Please send on your show poster to Kate Furlong, National PRO, and to your regional PROs at local level. Thanks to Kate, National PRO, for her Trojan work on this and spreading positive musical theatre vibes always. Well done to the local networking of societies at local regional level, bringing members to their neighbouring productions, certainly a task that could be taken on by a social secretary at local society level. Child protection and vetting. This continues to be a valuable service to all societies, and numbers requiring vetting among societies are quite steady. The service provider, Create, has now introduced an online form which can be filled in at society level. This has a facility of creating an online signature. This will be the norm going forward through 2024. There has been an increase in costs to €15 for the first 10 applications and then €12 each for any additional applications in one batch. Numbers using the service this season increased to 146 applications from 16 societies. And sincere thanks to Fergal Kavanagh, National President, Western Region, for all his hard work on this. Showtimes. The decision was taken at the last working weekend held in Mullingar to cease the printing and circulation of our monthly magazine, Showtimes. Showtimes had struggled in the last few years regarding a lack of contributions from our member societies and a decrease in circulation. This was met with sadness, especially among long-standing members, as they felt it was a link to the organisation and societies which they were very proud of, and to get the various news on what was going on and happening in the musical theatre world. Sincere thanks to the editor, Brandon Cogley, for his hard work on this. Mary Smith, who looked after circulation and advertising, and many thanks who gave technical support to Showtimes over the years, and great credit is due to Richard Lavery for his constant help and patience on this. Thanks also to Secretary and PRO Frank and Kate for help in getting material for various editions in the last couple of years. Insurance scheme. The numbers changing to our very competitive insurance scheme had increased before the onslaught of COVID. At this stage, societies are shopping around for competitive rates of insurance when needed during the year. Our brokers and group policy are currently Brady Insurance or Invent Insure, and you will need your A.I.M.S registration number available for National Registrar Maureen Heffernan, and contact with them is Mary Burns. The policy underwriters are A.I.M.S. Please be mindful of the increased insurance costs for a musical society due to larger scales of production in comparison to smaller drama productions, for example. The 25th anniversary of the A.I.M.S Youth Summer School. The seeds of an idea and discussion between three national councillors, all primary and secondary teachers, former National President, National Secretary Mary Butler, South West Region, Frank Foley, former National Vice President and Current Secretary, Eastern Region, and Mary Aylward, South East Region, led to this first youth summer school with roughly 24 secondary school students nearly 26 years ago. It's held in the Ursuline Boarding School in Thurles, County Tipperary, under director and choreographer Peter Kennedy and musical direction by Mary Rose McNally from Thurles. With the 25th anniversary of the Youth Summer School happening in 2023, again under director Peter Kennedy, musical direction by Shane Farrell, and choreography by Stephanie Brown from Nina Choral Society, it was time for a challenge. So it was decided to attempt a production of Les Miserables, the youth version, and with a cast of 80 students, and students also playing in the orchestra, a semi-staged version took place in the Premier Hall in Thurles on the Friday night in July, with a record attendance. The time is now, the day is here. The students rose to the challenge, and the results raised the roof at the Premier Hall. Sincere thanks to Mary B, Mary A, and Frank for sharing their dream with us, and of course, letting it rise and shine. Sincere thanks to Maureen Heffernan, Chair of the Youth Summer School Committee, or Band of Helpers, to Peter, Shane and Stephanie for their creative vision, and to the staff and the Ursuline Sisters in the boarding school and convent in Thurles for their support. Lastly, thanks to the committee and members of Thurles Musical Society who are always at the end of the phone and solution focused to solve all problems for that week in late June and early July over the past 25 years. The 60th anniversary of the Association of Irish Musical Societies will take place in 2025, and some tentative planning has already been done around this. So watch our website and social media pages for further details on planning. Sympathies. We express our deepest sympathies to all those who have lost a loved one in the course of the year. We remember especially former National President Winston Johnston from the Northern Region for his Trojan work on behalf of the Northern Region and nationally down through the years. To all our societies who have lost a valuable member, a friend, stalwarts in their own society, and friends to many through their love of musical theatre, may they all rest in peace.
Okay, thank you, Frank. Very comprehensive report there. We propose a second?
Yeah, proposal.
Could I have a proposer and a seconder, please? Fiona and Rob. Yeah. And next, going to pass over to Maura for the. Okay. Right. I'd like to pass over now to Maura for the financial report.
I hate these. What? Start with a joke. Excuse me. Everybody has the report, yes? Everybody has a copy of the report? Yeah. Okay. The bottom line was that we had a surplus of €29,900. This was due to the Arts Council money that we got in. We got 100,000 December, what year is this? 2021. December 21, we got 100,000. And what we had used last year was brought into the accounts, and the final bit of that 100,000 is in the current accounts now. We're still owed 25. All the figures have gone into them for us to draw down the balance of the 25,000. So hopefully within the next month, that will come through to us. The amount of bureaucracy, I can tell you, is absolutely phenomenal. You'd need to be a qualified accountant to do the whole thing, you really would. Anyway, but because of this, as Frank alluded in his report, we were able to stage A.I.M.S. Now, I've been involved with the summer school for so long now, and just to see those children do it in 1 week, I don't know whether people realise it's only 1 week, and the production team that they had, it's absolutely phenomenal, and all the other people involved with it. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get down because of some circumstances, but I was with them all the way. I was there in spirit, yeah. On the activities of the association, you'll see the adjudication scheme lost 60,093, but the awards made 71,429. So when you take the two activities together, the profit is around 11,195. We used to make a much larger profit, but that's the way it, the last couple of years. The Choral Festival brought in a profit of 3,687, which is brilliant, and they're continuing to get these kind of figures every year. Showtimes is the last figure now we'll be showing was a loss of 805. And want to thank all the people involved with Showtimes. The Youth Summer School, there was a loss of 17,490. And then the website was part of 1289. Now, these figures, you may wonder, we were using the Arts Council grant, but the auditors wanted to still show that what the activities were actually making a profit or losing, even though we were using their money. Okay. And the regions where 3 of them had profit, and there was a couple of them that didn't get to do anything. So I think that's probably about it. Yeah.
Anybody, any questions that want to bring up? Can we get a... If you say, just identify yourself and please.
Hi folks, Adam Trundle here from Newbridge Musical Theatre. Just, I suppose, wondering, So on the Arts Council, that 25,000, is that included in the 100,000 and it's just the last bit of it, or is
Last
that?
bit of it was 125,000 was
So
what we
it's
got, yeah.
it is an extra 25. Okay, great.
Yeah.
And then the second thing was, is there a plan for that money outside of sort of the ongoing operations? Because
there is.
you can see sort of some of it has
Yeah.
obviously gone to the admin, etc.
Yeah.
So is there a one big thing, or you know, what is the National Executive's plan for the money essentially?
There will be, actually, as this has been in the last 12 months, that there will be support both for the adjudication scheme, the summer school and workshops. So the things that we were additional funding in the last year are continuing on through the incoming year or the current year. So yeah, there is plans for all of the funding that there, and how we're going to use the balance that is due to come in.
I suppose how societies see it practically is, say, for example, a reduction in the cost of the adjudication scheme for the society from €250 to €150, and there was money sent back to societies. I think, refunds last year with regards to that. So that would be one practical way. Certainly the workshops as well. So we pay someone, say maybe like Ali Murphy, to do a makeup workshop. So they're ongoing at the moment. And as I said in the organisation's report, if anybody has a workshop that they want to do with their local society, now it can't be a fundraiser for the society, but to get on to email me at secretary@AIMS.ie if you have something coming up to your shows in April and May and that. So that's certainly, and with the we were talking about a schools mentoring scheme as well, a new scheme, so that will probably knock into the 25,000 that we hope to get probably in the next 6 weeks as well. So they're the concrete ways that societies, I suppose, are getting benefit. Certainly 250 is quite steep for an adjudicator, certainly for my own society. The membership then for the organisation, it has stayed at €80. So those groups that are members of the Drama League of Ireland will know that theirs is a little bit more. So we have tried as an executive and council to keep the costs to societies. And I know certainly with regards to, like, the query would be, how are we using this money rather than sitting on it? And I understand that, and we certainly would take it on board. So thanks, Adam.
Anybody else have any queries they want to raise?
Oh, it was, Alice, it was because we did the school production, it was because we did the school production of A.I.M.S, and we had a lovely orchestra, and we did it in the Premier Hall. So it was all the additional expenses of that, which, you know, because it was the 25th year and we had some funding to do, that's what we did.
You plan to revoke this loss next year?
Well, I think
Are you going to do another
I
If you're asking us, are we doing Miss Saigon, the answer is no. Too many sleepless nights or grey hairs.
I wouldn't think we'd be doing it on the same scale again.
Yeah,
No,
well,
but
huge loss.
it was absolutely wonderful to be able to do it. Really was, and yeah, and for the musical that they were able to do. Yeah.
Marion O'Leary, can I just query, you were saying about the 250 and the 150, so that was last year, but it's 150 this year again, isn't it, Marion? Can I just note that that hasn't been kind of noted on the...
It's on the adjudication form.
Is it on the
Yes,
adjudication
yeah,
form that it's
yeah.
subsidised? I
Yeah.
didn't think...
Well, I don't know about
it
the
was.
no.
Maybe that is
Yeah, no, it's down as being
sorry.
that it's 150.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to note that it is
Yeah.
subsidised, and that is
the
part
Arts
of that
Council.
funding, like last year. So
Yeah.
we're all getting it back. So
Yeah. Sorry, I thought you meant
Good
the.
point.
Anybody else?
Sorry, just from Fiona here, the students who went to the summer school, they were also subsidised last year too.
Yes.
Just
Yeah.
their fees were much reduced
They
for
were,
last year.
Fiona. Yeah.
Okay, can I have a proposer and a seconder then, please? Colin.
Jamie.
Jim. Yeah. Okay, next item is the President's address. Right. I can start. It's hard to believe that a year has gone by since I was first elected A.I.M.S president in the Bloomfield House in Mullingar. It has been an incredibly enjoyable year and certainly a very hectic year. I wish to thank everyone who has helped me and guided me through my first year, and particularly Frank Foley here, all the A.I.M.S executive, and in particular Vice President Jerry Sweeney, and also our past president Rob Donnelly. Thank you for all your help. It has been a great privilege to be invited by so many wonderful musical societies to see their show productions. It has been fabulous that my wife Annette has been able to travel to almost all the shows with me, and the hospitality that we have received from each and every society has been absolutely fantastic. It's such a privilege to slip on the A.I.M.S gold chain of office and enter the home venue of every society and meet their members. And then the enjoyment of talking to all the cast and share in their exhilaration and joy after their performance is absolutely wonderful. All while travelling the length and breadth of the country. I can't imagine how much more difficult it must have been without air quotes and Google Maps. I don't know how they did it. I also want to thank in particular Vice President Jerry Sweeney, who is always there and willing to travel to shows in my place representing A.I.M.S when the calendar got hectic. Thank you so much, Jerry. I suppose the only downside is the 2 speeding tickets and the 6 penalty points I collected along the way.
For shame, for shame.
Don't tell Maureen. All right. During last May, it was wonderful to travel to the A.I.M.S Choral Festival in New Ross, which was again a wonderful success, and well done to Lizzie Heffernan, as Frank was saying earlier, and her team, and who all ran this event so well, with so many fabulous choirs taking place from all of the many competitions. And also I want to thank Rob Donnelly, who as A.I.M.S Southeast Chairperson, for all his help with the festival, and well done to all of on that fabulous concert on the Saturday night. It was really such an enjoyable evening. In July, A.I.M.S celebrated its 25th anniversary of the Youth Summer Stagecraft Summer School, with close on 80 students taking part. So the summer school celebrated its 25th birthday, as Frank was saying, by doing the junior version of Les Miserables. So from starting auditions on the Sunday evening and bringing it to the stage in the Premier Hall on the Friday evening was an incredible achievement. I find it hard to comprehend how the principals and full cast could remember their lyrics, their music, their dialogue, their dancing, their movement for a complete production in just effectively 3 days' time, in a 3 days time frame. What gifted talent there was there on stage. Our future musical talent, our future with these juniors in musical talent is in great hands. A great week was had by all, and a massive thanks to the summer school team directed by Peter Kennedy, musical director, Shane Farrell, choreographer, and Stephanie Brown, again, as Frank was saying. Also a massive thanks to Sister Bernadette and the community at the Ursuline Convent School, and also Maureen Heffernan, Frank Foley, and all the team who gave up their summer holidays to chaperone and Thurles. Well done for such a resounding success. They all did a massive job. Thank you very much.
Teachers have great holidays. That's what we're told.
When they're not off in Spain. Our A.I.M.S Awards Festival in the INEC and Glen Eagles Hotel was another brilliant success within the region, as Frank was saying, of 1,200 in attendance for the award banquet. It made for one fabulous celebration of musical theatre excellence in Ireland. Standing at the beginning, I was A.I.M.S president, looking out from the stage over the whole packed INEC is an incredible sight and a moment I'll always remember. The organisation of our A.I.M.S Awards event is massive, and I want to thank Fiona Sheeran and all her team, who every year makes this all happen, and particularly Maura Nolan, who, although had difficulties this year, we were very sorry that happened, but looking after the admin and all the finance. And also the complete technical side, organised and headed up by Vinnie Osborne. Well done, Vinnie, and all his team for another fabulous spectacle. I'd also like to thank the O'Donoghue family for their support of A.I.M.S over all these years that we've been in the Glen Eagles Hotel, and to Breffney Egerton, who made sure our A.I.M.S Award Festival runs right on schedule over the weekend. Congratulations to all the 2023 award winners, and in particular for winning Best Overall Show in Gilbert, Gorey Musical Society with West Side Story, and in Sullivan and Tract with their Spring Awakening. Congratulations to them. During September, I was invited to attend the NODA National AGM in Preston by their president, Nick Lawrence, and was invited to speak at their AGM. NODA is a massive organisation with excess of 2,200 member societies throughout the UK and the northern region of Ireland. We have, over the last number of years, built up a very good collaborative relationship with NODA, which I would hope to continue for our mutual benefits. The work to get Arts Council funding is ongoing for A.I.M.S as it continues and is still a work in progress. There is a state of willingness within the Arts Council organisation to support our A.I.M.S activities. However, we have to prepare this in a format that is within their guidelines for giving state funding. So we are planning to achieve this through 2024. As in fact, I think we have to have our first application in by the end of March. So, the final claim for the funding for the pilot programme has recently been submitted and it should come through, as Frank was saying, within the next few weeks. This funding will continue to assist our activities over the next year and also be used to support our new programme for the secondary schools musical theatre mentoring through the school year 2024-25. Allied to this is the work of the Oireachtas Subcommittee on Funding for Local, as Frank mentioned, local community and arts, which myself and Frank attended last November, and where I made our submission following by a question and answer session. I wish to thank Senator Malcolm Byrne, who had organised our invitations to this subcommittee, where we hope the end result will be a programme for support for musical theatre and also a programme of capital expenditure to improve and enhance current theatre spaces and also to build new community theatres. I want to thank the National Council for their support throughout the year, and particularly for those who looked after me so well when travelling to attend their society's fabulous performances. I really want to thank our A.I.M.S executive, led by our esteemed Secretary Frank Foley, for all their help and support throughout my first year, and also my right-hand buddy here, Jerry Sweeney, as Vice President. In finishing, I just want to say that in travelling around the country, the talent that we have on stage in so many societies is wonderful and astonishing. And what really comes through in each and every society is the fun, the friendship, and the camaraderie. It's palpable everywhere. Musical theatre is alive and extremely rude health in Ireland. Thank you very much. Next election. Propose amendments to the A.I.M.S Constitution. Okay, no. Do you want to leave that then? All right. Okay. Election of honorary national president for 2024-25. And we, well, Maureen.
Yeah, no, we have the list.
We have the list.
Yeah.
Right.
We just have one nomination for national president for the next season for 2024-25, and I have a considerable list of nominations: Nine Arch, Avonmore, Carnew, Castlereagh, Athlone, Ballinasloe, Kilcock, HXT, Kilmainham, Inchicore, Oyster Lane, Thurles, Shannon, Baldoyle, Portmarnock, and I'm sure I've missed out a few that I need to add as well to this list. And just one nomination for a national president, and that's Fergal Kavanagh from Nine Arch Musical Society in the Western region. And as there's only one nomination, I deem Fergal elected for the forthcoming season.
Thank you very much for your support.
If you take the next one.
Right. All right. The next one is the election of National Secretary. And I'm sure we have a lot of nominations here.
I would just... the Secretary and the Vice President is number 10 there on the agenda. Yeah, okay, Alice.
Could you be quiet, please?
That's great to see you here. It's great to see you here. There's just one nomination for National Secretary from all those societies mentioned, and that's Frank Foley of Kilmainham Inchicore Musical Society, and I think that's me.
So on that basis, you're considered elected National Secretary again, 24-25.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Right, next position is election of National Treasurer.
So again, just one nomination for the National Treasurer, and it's outgoing Treasurer Moira Nolan from Baldoyle Musical Society for the forthcoming season 24-25.
And as there's only one nomination, Maura would like to say you're duly elected. Next position is election of Honorary National Vice President.
We just have one nomination for the position of Vice President, and that's Jerry Sweeney from Baldoyle Musical Society for the coming season.
Julie said that, Jerry, you're duly elected. Congratulations, Jerry. And next one is election of Honorary National PRO.
We just have one nomination for that position, and that's Kate Furlong from Coolmine Musical Society in the Eastern Region.
And having only one nomination, I'd like to congratulate you. Duly elected, Kate Furlong. Now we have a new one. This was pointed out just on a technicality that we should be annually electing our directors for the A.I.M.S Company Limited. So, do we?
Yeah.
Right. We want to list the names.
This is under company law, so it was kind of just on a technicality. So the officers that have been elected, they're members of the executive. So that's Fergal Kavanagh, Jerry Sweeney, Frank Foley, Moira Nolan, and Kate Furlong, with the addition of National Registrar Maureen Heffernan, and also the two other chairmen of the two other regions that are not represented among the officers. That's Angela Cunningham from the Northern Region and Colin Moles from the South East Region. And Seamus Power, sorry, apologies, I knew I'd missed someone. And Seamus Power from the Southwest Region. I know, apologies. So that they would be directors of the A.I.M.S Company Limited by guarantee.
So do we need a show of hands?
Just show of hands with
That'd be
regards to
something,
that.
yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, Julie passed.
So the reappointment of auditors.
Right, reappointment of auditors.
No, we're okay with that. Yeah, I think so, yeah. So we just have our auditors are McFeely and McKiernan.
Yep.
And just to propose,
Annette.
Nolene
And Annette.
and Annette. Or you want to second them as well. Just, I don't normally get involved in kind of auditors and accountancy. I'm very bad at teaching maths. I don't teach maths. Most definitely, I just use a credit card. But I must say, sincere thanks to Siobhan and Gary Copeland in McFeely and McKiernan. Just had, certainly with regards to the extra accounts that were required by the Arts Council because we were spending taxpayers' money. So there was a lot required. So just thanks to them for all their help in McFeely and McKiernan. So.
Okay. Right, we're now under AOB. Right, so you,
Okay.
do you want to take
Richard, yeah.
Richard now?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So we want to call an answer?
Yeah. We have just a little bit of extra business just to do. During the year, we had a proposal from National Council for the election of former National President and member of the Northern Region and ongoing supporter of showtimes in all its aspects for life membership of the organisation for Richard Lavery from St Agnes's. And I'd like to call on the chair of the Northern Region, Angela Cunningham, to propose Richard for the life membership.
Where are you?
Or wherever. Are you okay there? No, stay there if you're. Yeah.
I'm all right here.
No.
No, we can see you. Come on, John.
If you prefer to sit down, I'll sit down. Are you sure?
So yes, the Northern Region would like to propose Richard for life membership. Richard joined St Agnes's Choral Society back in 1983, albeit reluctantly on his own admission. Since then, he hasn't looked back. His name has become synonymous with the society. If you know Richard, then you'll have heard of St Agnes's. Richard has participated in concerts and shows, not only with the company, but with other A.I.M.S societies. He has been a committee member for the society, undertaking different roles such as vice chair and chair. His attention to grammar and punctuation has made him invaluable when it comes to proofreading show programmes. And in more recent years, his ingenuity and woodwork skills have been put to the test in devising and building a variety of show props. Attending the A.I.M.S seminar in Newcastle in the early 80s cemented Richard's love affair with musical theatre and those involved with it. His interest led him to undertake a variety of roles in the Northern Region, including that of chair. He also became a national councillor for the region, thinking nothing of the trips to Dublin to attend the monthly meetings. His role as councillor afforded him the opportunity to act as a supervisor in the A.I.M.S Youth Summer School, an event that is firmly cemented into his calendar every year. Such is his awe of the talent of the young people who attend. For those who don't know it, Richard was also Mr. Showtimes. As I alluded to earlier, Richard has a keen sense of grammar, punctuation, and knowing what sounds and looks good on a page. As a Showtimes editor would send articles to him, Richard could piece them together to look good on a page, sourcing perhaps an extra photo or two to fill a random gap. Serving on National Council and on the executive eventually culminated in Richard being elected as National President in 2012, a role he was both humbled and honoured to hold. The following 2 years saw him travel the length and breadth of Ireland to attend as many society shows as possible. He would think nothing of travelling to see a show in Galway and driving back in the wee small hours to go to work the next day. He acted as an ambassador for A.I.M.S, travelling with Rush Musical Society to Sweden to speak on the role of A.I.M.S and the benefit of musical theatre in Ireland, as well as representing A.I.M.S at NODA conferences and other official events. Richard once said that joining St Agnes's and A.I.M.S changed his life. However, we feel that Richard's enthusiasm for musical theatre, the years he has spent serving A.I.M.S on a society, regional and national level, as well as his continued support of the association, deserves to be recognised. And that is why we are proposing Richard Lavery for life membership of A.I.M.S.
Second the motion now, and we'll get some pictures taken as well.
We got a seconder for the motion.
The whole room. No.
Is he coming up from it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, so we have, yeah.
Yep.
Got up there, Richard. Kate, if they stand in front of the actual, or pull it out, pull the banner out there, yeah. Great stuff. Can you get that? Okay. Thanks, Jerry. Thank you.
Thank you. This was not unexpected, by the way. Frank told me a couple of weeks ago. And my first thought was like Othello, Shakespeare's Othello, or Charles Haughey. I like to think I've done the state some service. But actually, it's more Sir Joseph Porter. It's G&S. Some of you young people won't know. I polished up the silver. and I crawled to the top way above my abilities. But it has been an absolute honour to be involved with St Agnes's and with A.I.M.S for some years now. And I hope that being a life member doesn't preclude me from polishing the silver or supervising it. I thank you all for your incredibly warm applause, and I wish the society, the association rather, all the very best. It's an absolute honour to receive this, and I'm deeply touched. Thank you.
Well deserved, Richard. You did sterling work over many years. Right, AOB. Yeah. Any, right, open to the floor?
Oh, Killarney, sorry.
Sorry.
Killarney dates, sorry. Killarney dates for this year are the 14th, 15th and 16th of June. Unfortunately, it will be €395 for the weekend due to a 10% increase in accommodation fees and a 5% increase across the food and beverages. So it'll be €395. €200 deposit for the 13th of March. All bookings, please, by email and bank transfer only. That way there can be no row over who got in first or who got in second, because I shall have a complete record on my email of the order in which the bookings arrived. Just accommodation is very tight. There's no other way of putting it. We've been trying to get an extra hotel, but the amount of refugees that are being accommodated in hotels in Killarney, it is proving a really, really difficult task at the price level that we are willing to pay. I'm sure you'd be all very happy to be put up in some of the 5-star hotels, but they ain't in my budget, thank you. So deposit, or the balances then will be due for the 10th of May. The theme for this year is pure imagination. And so we shall leave that with you. As Frank mentioned, this year the proceeds of the raffle went to the Rape Crisis Centre. And the year before we did the Irish Red Cross in response to the Ukraine. And this year the raffle will go to Aware, because I don't think there is a society in the country that hasn't been touched by a need, unfortunately. I will confirm the shoulder nights before the booking form goes out. And if any society would like to volunteer to make the Friday night centrepieces, I'd absolutely love to hear from you. And don't knock me down in the rush. I think that's all the basics for now.
Open to the floor, any other business?
Just bear with me, I have put something together. So my name's Orla Williams. I'm the Secretary of Newbridge Musical Theatre based in Newbridge, County Kildare. And I'm here today with two of my colleagues, Cian O'Dowd, PRO of Newbridge, and Adam Trundle, Treasurer. On behalf of the Newbridge Musical Theatre Committee, we'd like to make a request to the A.I.M.S National Council that 2024 be the year to take a thorough review of and update to the A.I.M.S adjudication scheme. I'll do my best to keep this brief, but I think it's helpful to touch on some points of history just to provide some context to this request. As you all very well know, A.I.M.S was established in 1965, with the first of the now annual award ceremonies taking place in 1972. At this time, it's estimated that there were approximately 50 societies affiliated with A.I.M.S. This is according to a thesis written by former A.I.M.S National Councillor and PRO Alice Hughes. The earliest A.I.M.S award for which there are records is 1977. That year's show featured 18 awards categories. Don't worry, I won't list them, but they are referenced in this document, which I can share with the Council after this meeting. Since that award ceremony, there have been several category changes, and at last year's ceremony there were 21 award categories. Again, I won't list them. In the 2000-2001 season, following discussion around the standards of the scheme and the ability for one adjudicator to see all shows staged in a year, a decision was made to divide all societies into two sections, Higher Gilbert and Lower Sullivan. Which section a society was in a given year was based on the total points accumulated by achieving nominations over the previous 5 years. Last year, from the more than 120 current member societies of A.I.M.S, 105 shows were performed equating to 52 shows being adjudicated in the Gilbert section and 53 in the Sullivan. So why the history lesson? Well, bar the decision to divide all societies into 2 sections and some small changes to the awards categories, the A.I.M.S adjudication scheme has not undergone any significant reform since it was first put together in 1972. Even taking the 2000-2001 update into account, this still leaves a period of almost 23 years without reform. We respectfully put it to you that the scheme, in its current form, has been outgrown by the societies around the country and no longer serves their growing needs to the same success that it once did. To support our request for reform, I'm just going to walk through some of the shortcomings as we see them in the current scheme. As previously mentioned, there are more than 120 societies last year, staging 105 shows around the country. At the busiest times of the year, this means an adjudicator can expect to attend up to 8 shows in a week. Even with the very best will in the world, which we're certainly not questioning, this is an extremely high workload for anyone and one that risks impacting the quality of the reviews. In addition, the overall number of shows an adjudicator has to see over an almost 12-month period surely begs the question, when it comes to deciding on nominations, how easy is it to remember show number 32 or 12? Although adjudicators are provided with 13 categories under which to review the shows they see, again, these are listed in the document, I won't go through them, there is no formal review or scoring system, no published guidelines or framework, nor are adjudicators trained by A.I.M.S on how to review the shows. This means the structure, content, and feedback provided by one adjudicator can vary greatly from what was received previously or what will come in the years to follow. At best, this provides a frustrating experience for members. At worst, an inequitable one, too heavily led by adjudicators' personal preferences. The sections and categories as they currently exist result in societies in very different situations, staging very different shows, competing against one another. The landscapes of societies in this country includes those that play in GAA halls, school halls, owned spaces, and national theatres. In the same vein, our societies can operate on vastly different budgets, from less than €10,000 to in excess of €80,000 per production. This inevitably impacts every aspect of their shows, from the production team they can hire, to how and where they source their costumes and props, to the number of lights they can point at their performers and those who run those lights. Finally, these societies also take to the stage with varied numbers, from chamber-style groups of just 12 or 15 to much larger organisations with upwards of 70 on stage, and even more behind. We feel the adjudication scheme could better reflect these nuances. We put these points to you not to throw stones or to poke holes, but simply to say that it's time for reform. In order to better serve the landscape of Irish musical societies as it currently exists, the adjudication scheme must grow and evolve to match. So what do we want? I'm almost there, thank you for your patience. We would like to request that A.I.M.S recruit a cross-regional committee to investigate this issue with societies around the country. It is our recommendation that this involve a thorough research project to include surveying and interviewing active members across Ireland. This project should gather member opinions on the adjudication scheme as it currently exists, any issues they see with the scheme, and their suggestions for change. Following this research project, the committee would publish a report of their findings available to all societies for review. Next, a prioritisation process should take place where A.I.M.S members can vote for the changes that they would like to see. And finally, a working group would be formed in order to enact those changes and update the scheme accordingly. On behalf of the Newbridge Musical Theatre Committee, I'd like to thank you very much for your attention and time. As I mentioned, we intend to circulate a copy of this request to the Council, and indeed we'd be very happy to share it more publicly too. And again, thank you for your consideration and look forward to your response.
Thank you for your all that you said, and certainly something that if you send that into National Council, we will go through it and have a look at it, and we will also reply to you on what we think is the best course of action on it.
Great, thank you.
Would anybody else like to make any comment on it? Okay, that's fine. Thank you. But anything else you want to say on that, Frank?
I suppose just to clarify just a few points that Orla made, are all very welcome. I would certainly recognise that just with the numbers and that, the adjudication scheme is becoming a little too wieldy. Just one thing with regards to being there when it was divided into Gilbert and Sullivan, and look, it's a moot point. It wasn't that one set of societies were greater than another. It was trying to treat them kind of maybe more equitable. So it's not a kind of a first Premier Division and a second division. And that was very, very important point that was made certainly at the time, whenever it was. It was my last time as National Secretary, which was 2001 or 2000. Just with regards to the training and that as well, I suppose when the advert is put out, and it'll be put out shortly for adjudicators, even though the actual financial package is substantial enough, but certainly doesn't meet the needs of someone driving around the country and depending on where they're living. Is at the moment is something like €320, I think, Claude or Laura will. For it. So if you're living in Dublin and you're going to maybe Ballywillen in the north, just with regards to that and accommodation, we're not kind of, the amount of applications, we're not overcome. Certainly my work doesn't take, with regards to interviews, 2 weeks. With regards to interviewing people. So there are not a load of people because of the workload and going to see 53 to 55 shows a year. And as Orla said, with regards to those school weeks, the midterm break, the Halloween week, and then around Easter, they're chock-a-block. And certainly we recognise the issue around you could have 8 shows in those weeks. So it means maybe attending a matinee or your opening night. And like, I'm very involved in my own society, and you certainly don't want to see an adjudicator coming in on an opening night. Okay. Just with regards to training, yeah, take that on the nose as well. That we do look for people that have some sort of qualification or background in musical theatre. And kind of make sure, going back to the regions, that the person has some sort of calibre of writing as well. So they would be sent to adjudicate a show. And then the interview panel would be the 2 adjudication liaison personnel, and that's Claude Farrell and Laura Ryan. And then it has been, say, the National President and myself as National Secretary. So we would go through that review and go through the categories as well, just that they're up to a standard with regards to adjudication. Now, I suppose then the training, yet again, speaking to former adjudicators on what is needed for the adjudication and what is needed for a review. And absolutely, that just what, how do we define a musical? And as Orla said, it can go from a play with music with 2 or 3 people to a full Sunset Boulevard with over 100 of a chorus. So that is very difficult to define in a review. I think something that's going to be taken on board, because we are worried, what if an adjudicator goes sick, as has happened? We don't have a marking scheme or a trace of what they have been doing in the past. And we go back to an unfortunate situation, I don't know the year, with another adjudicator who gave up midstream. And there was a lot of societies really left high and dry. Now, kind of as former chair of my own society, I wouldn't have liked to be in that situation. But what is the story if somebody gets sick or takes a heart attack or whatever going forward? So it does need to be looked at. It does need to be looked at, definitely.
Okay.
Okay.
Frank. Alice, would you like to say something? Sorry. Well, I could, just before Alice comes in, because could I just clarify that Alice Hughes is the person that was referred to in Orla's submission there, that
She has written the doctorate or the master's thesis in Maynooth University with regards to the history of musical theatre in Ireland. So thank you to Alice for that.
For those who want to read it and those who don't, it's online in Maynooth. Right. And some of you might be mentioned in rather different ways, but but one of my major bed bugs is that we are a musical society. Our main thing should be the music. We need somebody who knows when they're out of tune and when they aren't, or when they can't sing at all and they think they can. But
how do you put that point down on paper?
I would.
You know, so.
We know you would.
No, but I do feel that music should be one of the most important thing, and I don't think it is anymore.
Okay.
Maybe in the R&R in Glasnevin and Belfast Operatic and St Aggie's.
With members here, with members of.
Thanks. Your time is up.
You've got some money. Showtime is gone. Those of us who were at the very first meeting of A.I.M.S, some of us missed it. Some of us, even though we didn't contact each other and talk about it, it was a link to the thing we've loved for many years. And there's a lot of us who are old and even older, and you kind of feel, oh, well, it's like when you get old and you keep getting pushed off the bus. And I gave up work because I kept getting knocked off the bus or pushed out of the way. And there's a lot of that happening in many ways for older people. And I'm here to sort of wave a little dead flag for the older people. And for those of us who might like maybe even a newsletter. I even foolishly last night, under the influence of 7-Up, offered to type it. Normally, my normal drink would be Bushmills, and I would never have offered to type it. Anyway, thank you for your time.
Well done, Alice.
Thanks. I'll be quick. Just with regard to what we were discussing there about the schedule and the calendar, I just wonder, is there a possibility for us to look at creating a national calendar of events whereby all the different societies would liaise with the National Council around their dates, so that we don't have, for example, societies who have a theatre encroaching on the times when societies have to use a school during midterm break, that we could kind of try to spread the shows where possible, that we don't have societies who have the option to use different weeks using the same weeks as societies who don't.
I suppose just to respond to that in terms of having a theatre available, please don't think that all the dates are available, because it isn't certainly the case at all. And particularly here in Wexford now with the National Opera House, the local groups are probably the last pecking order to be looked at and to be able to made way for. So, and I totally get where you're coming from, and I appreciate that, but don't think that we are at the top of the list for getting our dates in, because we're not at all in any manner.
Okay. Right. Anything else anybody would like to bring up? Sorry.
Are you sure? Right. And just that point was echoed this morning, just talking about in Belfast, the same situation with regards to the Opera House. The lads and ladies were saying exactly the same thing, exactly the same thing. But just the point with regards to the, like if you create a third tier with regards to the adjudication of societies, try and spread it out and hire another adjudicator, is that the solution? And then what do we do? Do we build another Gleneagle or an IMEC with regards to awards and that? So I don't know. Don't have the answer.
I just said one last thing.
waiting with the people who have their hands up.
Oh, sorry, I can't see them and I can't turn. No, you're all right. Sorry, now you stopped me thinking. Oh, yes, anybody who's planning to build a theatre in your town, village, or wherever, for God's sake, get in touch with them, because some of the ones that have been built, the lighting box couldn't be seen, and I could, I won't say the local society that has wings only on one side. Get involved somehow by getting an architect who can sing, dance, or act.
Yeah.
That's all.
Fair point, fair point.
Hi, Niamh Kelly Smith, Galway Musical Society. Please excuse me in advance if I cause offence to anybody. I'm not very good at speaking when I haven't prepared something, and sometimes I can be too blunt and get myself in trouble. I just want to support the suggestion that we would go out to societies, that A.I.M.S is a fantastic organisation, and there are so many people in this room who have a massive history with A.I.M.S and put a lot of work into it. And I'm sure when the adjudication scheme started, it was to acknowledge the achievements of different societies. But I think we need to look at the scheme now and see, is it serving A.I.M.S as an association as it is? And from what I can see when I'm down in Killarney, that it's from a lot of people involved in societies, they see A.I.M.S as A.I.M.S is the weekend in Killarney, and it's the awards and the adjudication. And whether it's right or not, a lot of people put a lot of emphasis and a lot of value on those awards. And I do think that it is time to have a look at the system and see. We're saying here, it's very difficult for one person to see everything. I don't know how they remember from September to June and then pick the top 3 actors in a category. But I think now is the time to commit to saying that we will look at it, that we will, if we don't know what the best thing is, that we put a survey out to all of the societies in the country, give them a chance to give our suggestions, that there may be somebody who has a fantastic suggestion and wasn't able to travel here today to bring it up, that, would have an idea of something that we could put forward, and that we could, like you said, a task force to look at it, to see what is the best way, if we need to restructure it, how to restructure it, what is the best way to do it to serve our members. So I just wanted to support that. I think it's a really good idea to go out to the societies, to put information together, and to see, as a member of the council, to see on the council, what can we do that will serve the membership and will serve the awards and will make it easier for an adjudicator, or however it is done, that, that we do it in whatever way the people manage to come up with. I'm sorry, just wanted to say that.
Well done.
Hello, my name is Annette Kavanagh, and I'm from Nine Arch Claregalway Musical Society. I think really one of the things that we have to look at is when A.I.M.S actually started, when those 3 or 4 people got together and wanted to do something to improve musical theatre, their idea was to help and to guide. And travelling around the country over the last year, certainly the standard in musical theatre in Ireland, both north and south, is absolutely astonishing. I do take on board what the executive are saying about our adjudication. If we went into a 3rd tier, as Frank just said, we are back to our problem again. If an adjudicator takes ill, what are we going to do? I am one of these people who very much recommend a marking system, because if someone takes ill, you could walk in, get their notes, and see the direction that they were going. Hence, the person that would be taking over, whether it's for a week, whether it's for the rest of the season, has something to go by. Someone talked about the cost of putting on shows. I know when I first started in musical theatre, we were a very small society in Headford. If our show was costing €5,000, it was panic stations. And I remember actually coming to a council meeting and actually asking the same question as you asked. How can you possibly adjudicate a show when one society is spending 5,000 and somebody else is spending 35, 40, 50,000? And a very nice man who has passed away, Winston Johnson, said to me, "Darling, talent will always win out in the end." And I have seen that traveling around the country. Both Fergal and I have been in fabulous theatres. We've been in parish halls. And some of the talent and the ability working with a very low budget has been amazing. I think our societies, we have to listen to what they are saying. And one of the things that what Niamh has just said, are we just all about awards and Killarney? To me, at times, it looks like that. But when you went to the summer school in Tralee and you saw the young people of our organisation, as Fergal said, this organisation certainly is in road health. So congratulations to every society in the country. You're all doing a wonderful job. No matter whether you have a 20,000 budget or 120,000, your talent in the end will always win out. Okay? Thank you.
Yeah, it's one of the things I just mentioned there, which for the youth coming along is the school mentoring scheme, which we will start in September through the post-primary secondary school as a pilot program for the 30 schools in the pilot program. But it would be hoped that that would then develop from that there, and we've ironed out any of the wrinkles that may appear in it, that would be rolled out on a national basis, or nationally on a regional basis over the next really 2 years. Again, on this whole thing of trying to benefit, the amount of schools that are now doing musical theatre is growing all the time. And the quality of them at times isn't so good, at times is actually very good. But it's to get that whole thing through the secondary school of getting a program in there where mentoring can help them improve the quality of the shows that are being done in secondary schools, and then to develop them as they can grow up then and come into the musical theatres all around the country. So we hope that will be a very successful program.
That program, is that part of A.I.M.S?
Yeah.
So it is being rolled out as part of A.I.M.S and they're
Yep.
going to be adjudicated on the schools?
Yeah, I suppose
more on the theme of mentoring rather than adjudicating. Yeah. When I talked to the...
Explain a little bit more about it. I think it's
well, there is a whole thing that'll be going up because it will be advertised and all the details come up. But basically, it will be an involvement, both that they will visit the school, but there will also be online contact with them by Zoom or whatever at different stages as they do a production. For those schools that want it, it's a voluntary basis, obviously, and to see how well they can be helped. As I say, when the pilot program is complete, we'll be able to analyse what was good about it, what was bad, what do we need to change, what way do we improve, so that by the time we then roll it out on a regional basis, then we will have a good template of how we want it to work. And I would point out that actually, I talked to the people in NODA and looked at the way they do, not so much an adjudication system, but they have more of a mentoring type approach where they would go to all their societies in their region. And they have about 10 regions, and then they have about 12 sub-regions in each one of them. But their person goes out on the basis that they're there to talk to the people and do a report to them, which would say, you were very good here, you're very good there. And they would possibly say, listen, those areas are things that you might be able to improve on. But it's done much more on the basis that look at the things that are good and tell them where they're good and how they can improve that. But on the things that are bad, say, listen, that area is not an area that they're strong in, rather than being, they try to keep away from being critical. And that's the basis that they go forward on, rather than we're more adjudication looking at some of the reviews. So possibly that's the whole thing we need to possibly look at as well.
Yeah, I think just on a personal level, I suppose, I feel quite strongly when it comes to secondary school students, putting them into competition against each other. We have very, very strong schools here in Wexford town, particularly anyway, who do produce really excellent shows.
Yeah.
And I would hate to see that we were starting a rivalry between some of the.
No, it's much more on the theme that this is what we want to get right. We want to do it as mentoring as opposed to adjudicating. Right. Are we, everybody okay then? Any other different issues that anybody would like to bring up?
Can I just in relation to your proposals, Orla, is it?
Yeah. Like it's a lot to take in, you know, and we're only hearing about it now. And there's a lot, you know, everybody's going, Bing, why did we not think about this before? What way can we do this? I would say that oftentimes when people are looking inwards at any organization, whether it's a business or, you know, a feasibility study about what is it that we are doing and what is it that we want to do, everything has to be looked at. You know, it could come out of this that we don't want a competition at all. You don't know what will come out of it. But should it be done by us or should it be done by somebody outside looking in at us and consulting with us? So sometimes these things are not necessarily transparent. I don't mean transparent in a bad sense, but when, say, if we go out looking to each society about what do you want from A.I.M.S, that those results and those questions should be asked of somebody that's not part of the organisation. Maybe. That's something that we need to ask. In relation to what you were talking about, Fergal, as well, is that something that A.I.M.S wants to do? So there's lots of this, like, it's not just a simple thing like, let's go out and do a survey. The whole thing needs to be looked at. And it is a huge thing. Who pays for it? Who's going to go around doing it? It's a massive undertaking, I think. It doesn't necessarily mean that it shouldn't be done at all, but it is big. It's a massive thing. And sometimes we don't like looking at ourselves in a very objective way because we don't like what the results are. And if the results of anything like that is done, how do we move forward with it? And that's loads of different organisations, sports clubs, businesses do this thing, but you have to be prepared for what the answers are. That's all.
Yeah, okay, thank you. The point I would make there actually is the first starting point is that National Council look at it and they then look at doing what external help, or is this something we can look at ourselves first of all? So that's really the job of National Council. That's why they're there.
Oh yes, sorry. Just to, I think, just come in on that point, and I think to maybe round out discussion. Sorry, Cian O'Dowd, I'm the PRO of Newbridge, also the secretary of the Odd Theatre Company. So I'm kind of coming maybe with two hats and two different sides of looking at things. One being a bigger society and one being a very small society. Probably not quite off the 5K budget that was discussed earlier on, but really I think. You know, there's nothing in, you know, what Orla's read out and what we've come as an idea to present here today, which is necessarily prescriptive as to the way that we're to go about it. I think what this was meant to do was to be the kernel or the spark that moves forward a conversation about what does a future adjudication scheme look like if this organisation as a whole wants to make amendments to it or wants to redraw it in some fashion. I'd be a very strong believer that, and maybe it's a trite statement to say it, but I'll say it anyway, that our asset is our collegiality and our ability to work together and to do something that is for the mutual benefit of all our societies. I don't think we necessarily need a big four accountancy firm to necessarily come in and give us an audit. I think there are lots of mechanisms that we can work together to do that. And I think, you know, once we go to the place of I suppose, getting that honest feedback or working through that in a workshop or a survey or a forum or whatever it is, I think we'll get some really good ideas, and I think we'll get some really good feedback. And I think the other thing is, to put our money where our mouth is. I think certainly we as a society are very happy to do whatever work is required to assist in whatever the National Council or the National Executive decides is the best route forward. I think with some of the sentiment in the room, that's likely shared by a lot of other societies. So just to say, or to round it off, we want to do whatever it takes to work with you to move it forward.
Yep. Okay. Thank you, Kim. Right.
Survey, and as of the survey, it's only 9 came back.
It's only 9 what?
Just
We've had these discussions. I was in A.I.M.S for about 15 years. We've had the same discussions over and over again, and always thinking of new ways. It doesn't seem to work. We stay the same. We don't change a lot. The website is one thing, and other things have happened. But how to become involved in for instance, where I live, there's 2 nursing homes, and they would love people to come in and entertain them. Maybe some afternoon, or let our musical society people get involved with nursing homes particularly, because they're old and you can learn an awful lot from, even though I'm not as old as but there is a line that draws people together there. And you'd be doing something in the parish or the locality that would make you seen even more, and more attractive to the community that need a bit of music and never hear it.
Yeah.
And I feel quite strongly about
Yeah,
this.
but that there, Ross, what you're talking about is for each individual musical
Right.
society to do with their own community. That's they got to be. It's from the base up that has to work from. It cannot be from the top down.
I agree,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I think nursing homes are a place where we get easily involved.
If Showtimes was still here, you could write an article about it.
just
Good art, right?
If I
Okay.
could, just to finish up, just to clarify that, just maybe more on technical issues with our dealings with the Arts Council and that first of all, certainly the Arts Council are coming around to recognising as an art form musical theatre. Now, coming in and dealing with amateur groups seems to be a kind of a new experience for them. Now, as well as the General Arts Council grant, which we applied for last year, we also applied for an arts capacity grant, which was smaller, where the organisation would look at issues around governance with regards to directors, charitable status, all that. So that was applied for. And also the issue with regards to the services that the organisation offers. Now, we've a lot of talk about showtimes here and different services that we offer, and I suppose updating them or making decisions that they're no longer feasible for 2025 or whatever going forward. So there was a lady called Linda Scales looking at it from a legal point of view with regards to governance, and a group working with the Arts Council already that were going to go out and do a little bit of what Orla was talking about there, of interacting with local societies around the island of Ireland with regards to the services that A.I.M.S offer. And that would have included the adjudication scheme. Now, that was going to be quite a body of work, but it was turned down by the Arts Council, even though Linda Scales and the other, I think it was Una O'Donovan, the Arts Council, both of them are working on projects with the Arts Council at the minute, but so we didn't get funding for that. So not only the adjudication scheme, but other services that A.I.M.S are offering, do they stand up to the test of time? And that's going forward, we need to look at that as an organisation. So we do welcome certainly the comments by Newbridge and other societies here, but there are other services, and I suppose we do need to look at all those as well going forward.
Okay.
Before we close, just to thank you personally, Virgil, for all you do with card vetting. You've been a huge help for everything that you do and the work that you put in. And just one more thing on anniversary on behalf of White Theatre Group. Alana, just to update that she is absolutely thriving in her stage management. It is very appreciated and absolutely lovely, of course.
That's great.
Very good, Marion. Thank you.
Great to hear that.
Thanks to Southeast.
Okay.
Could I thank the Southeast region for hosting the event, and could I sincerely thank Jamie Collins for all her help with organising meals and accommodation for us. Next year we're going north, so you can, of course.
Hello, sorry, just really quick, we seem to be on the thank yous, and I just want to say, I think on behalf of everybody, I don't know if lots of people know this in Wexford now, so it's not new news or new news to your ears, but I just want to say a really big thank you, and I think you'll all think it, from our Showtimes editor. I know we don't have Showtimes anymore, but gorgeous Brandon is going to be heading off travelling in September. He's stepping down from Oyster Lane, and I just want to say I think you give a huge, the amount of work you do in Oyster Lane, the amount of work you've done on the, with us on A.I.M.S, on the council, Showtimes and all that, particularly in very difficult circumstances during COVID, you kept it going. And I just want to say, as a note of public thanks to Brandon for all the work he's done, and the best of luck on your travels.
Okay.
Acknowledge the fact that when I checked about an hour ago, there was 50 to 60 people also online for the meeting, so that there's been a really good attendance. So you can wave at William and the camera back there.
The tea and coffee will be served outside, and it's all set up on the foyer there.
Yeah, can I just ask Richard to stay and Fergal, and if we could just get the council to stay, and the executive just want to get a few photos quickly with Dara, so if everyone else can make their way outside to have the tea and coffee, and we'll be out to you in a couple of minutes, if that's okay.
Yeah, I'd like to thank everybody for coming. It was great to meet everybody here this evening, and safe home.
Okay.
What's Vinny saying?
But I don't really know.
What's he
saying there?
Yeah, that's what's trying to.
Oh, right. Just in finishing, we have just a small clip on Facebook of the finale of Act 1 from Les Mis from Thurles with the group in July 2023.
One day more, another day, another destiny, this never-ending road to Calvary. These men who seem to know my crime will surely come a second time, one day more. Never till today, how can I live when we are parted? One day more.